human skin, our largest organ that protects us, regulates our temperature, and helps us feel things. We sometimes love the skin we are wearing, but other times we wish we could be in someone else's skin for a change. I know I had that thought, but I never imagined myself wearing someone else's skin. Literally. Whether we talk about wearing a mask or an entire human body. Do you think it's weird? Do you think it's impossible? Do you think I'm mad? Well, I'm here to tell you that history is here to prove us wrong. People did wear human skin as costumes, and they used to get pretty mad creative about the things you can craft out of human skin. Lamps, quivers, pocket knife cases, amulets or sculptures. And the list doesn't end here. Hi, I'm Christique and I would like to welcome you to Uncovered Stories, where we talk about strange myths, legends, and the hidden stories behind your favorite TV shows and video games. So offer a like and a subscribe to join the conversation, because legends and secrets are better uncovered together. So a few weeks ago I watched this Netflix series Monster, the Ed Gein story. Have you watched it? Or have you known anything about Ed Gein before the show? I have heard the name once or twice, and I knew that he basically was a serial killer, and that was it. I didn't search for more information about his story, and then I watched the series. And boy, oh boy, was I shocked. A female body hanging by the feet, face masks made out of human skin, boxes with various human parts, and even a woman's suit made out of, again, female skin that he would wear. And a whole set of questions came to my mind, and this morbid curiosity to learn more about Edward Gein's story, especially seeing how many movies were inspired by his life, such as Psycho, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and even Silence of the Lambs. And if you're curious, I can make another video about his case, but my first thought after watching the series was, why did he wear the victim's skin? Why did he use human skin to make house objects?
I don't know.
I mean, people say he got inspired by the stories of Ilse Koch, a German war criminal that made different items out of prisoners' skin, such as this lamp. But I got the sense that flaying human skin and wearing it is a much more old tradition that we don't really talk about. I mean, it's pretty insane thinking of wearing or making objects out of people's skin. For most people it's a weird thought, but some cases from our own history beg to differ. In ancient Aztec times, there was this god guy named Xipetotec. I'm pretty sure I haven't said his name correctly, but what can you do? Learn how to pronounce it? Who has this time? I don't. So, this god, Xipetotec, was a god of life and death that represented rebirth, being also associated with spring and vegetation. Until now, he seemed like a cool god, right? Like it really gives you joy and brings happiness, you would think. After the cold, shivery winter comes spring, with all its colors brought up by Xipetotec. But things aren't that joyful with this god, actually. Xipetotec means the flayed one, our lord, and apparently Xipetotec had skinned himself as a sacrifice to give food to humanity. When they celebrated him in a complex multi-day ritual, they would choose different captives from war to become sacrifices to Xipetotec. These captives would have their hearts cut out, and then they would be carefully flayed so that they, the priests, would have in the end a nearly whole human skin. Just human skin from head to toes without anything to support it. Just skin. The skin was then worn by priests for 20 days during other rituals and ceremonies until it began to rot and peel. They thought that the skin decomposing symbolized crops sprouting from the earth. To most people nowadays, I'm saying most because I don't want to generalize, we are all unique in our own ways. But to most people, this tradition is horrifying. For Aztecs, it meant rebirth. Kind of poetic, if we ignore all the screamings, of course. Another flayed story that I found takes place in the old Assyrian Empire, and it's about the king Ashur-nasir-pal II and also Ashurbanipal. Get it? Nepal? You think he had a thing for flaying nipples? Well, let me tell you. Ashur-nasir-pal II really wanted to protect his territory from all sorts of rebels and other empires, and in his first campaign in 8083 BC, he made an example out of those rebels that he had been carefully taken care of. In one of his inscriptions, he wrote, "I built a pillar over against the city gate, and I flayed all the chiefs who had revolted, and I covered the pillars with their skins. Some I impaled upon the pillar on stakes, and others I bound to stakes around the pillar. I cut the limbs out of the officers who had rebelled. Many captives I burned with fire, and many I took as living captives. From some I cut off their noses, ears, and their fingers. Of many I put out their eyes. I made one pillar of the living and another of heads, and I bound their heads to tree trunks around about the city. Their young men and maidens I consumed with fire. The rest of their warriors I consumed with thirst in the desert of the Euphrates." What? Jesus! I think he really took the relief sculpture idea too literal, and he thought that hanging human skin from city walls would become a design trend. Well, I guess it didn't, but I'm sure it was a view that would make you jump out of your own skin. Yeah. You find all sorts of things when you choose to open up a book and read. And if you're lucky enough, you may come across a book that has been bound in human skin. Yes, you heard me right. Apparently, in the 19th century, this was a particular subject of interest. One of the few surviving examples in the UK is made from the skin of the first man to be hanged at Bristol Gaol, 18-year-old John Horwood, who was hanged for the murder of a girl, Eliza Balsom. The book contains details of the crime. He basically loved her, she didn't love him, and then he threw a stone at her and beat her skull to pieces with it. Following his execution, Horwood's corpse was dissected and parts of Horwood's skin had been tanned to bind a collection of papers about the case. The cover of the book was embossed with a skull and crossbones, with the words Cutis vera Johannes Horwood, meaning the actual skin of John Horwood. They really took a part of him when they decided to write this book, huh? And another book made out of human skin is the one made out of the infamous murderer William Burke. Burke, along with his partner William Hare, were killing people and selling their corpses for dissection to the private Edinburgh Anatomy School, run by Robert Knox. When they got caught, there was a public dissection, and soon after this, a small brown pocket book that had William Burke's skin on the cover appeared, stamped with the execution date of Burke in 1829. Also, I found out about this book about virginity written in the 16th century that was rebound in human skin in the 19th century by Ludovic Bolland. Would you read such a book? It would definitely get under your skin. Or, more rightfully said, you would get under the author's skin. Right? Just imagine yourself reading a very old book and you find out it's made out of human skin. Could also be one of your great old relatives for all we know. The world is such a lonely and cold place. Jesus, I get shivers just by thinking of it. Maybe I should put something on. Something like a waistcoat, maybe? Maybe I should ask Saint Just, a close friend of Robespierre, who allegedly wore a waistcoat made out of a woman's skin. He was a political leader of the French Revolution. He had a lot of power and influence, but the legend says he was not so easy to love. And when he fell in love with a girl who didn't share his love for her, he had her arrested, executed, her skin removed by a surgeon, cured by a tanner, and made into a fashionable waistcoat which he wore every day, allegedly. Apparently, this legend is also present in the game Assassin's Creed Unity. Who knows? Maybe it's true, maybe it's not, but we all know legends start from a spark of truth. In Romania, we have a saying, Mi-aș da și pielea de pe mine, meaning, I would give out even my own skin. I never imagined this saying would be true in some cases, like the case of Antoine Leblanc, a French immigrant that battered 3 people to death in New Jersey in 1833. After he was caught, convicted, and sentenced to be hanged, the judge also ordered that his body would be dissected, for scientific purposes, of course. What's with people and public dissections? Were they so eager to learn more about human anatomy, or were they just a bunch of psychopaths that wanted to see a human body dismembered? Maybe if we didn't have public dissections, cases such as Gein wouldn't have existed nowadays. So, Leblanc was flayed, his skin was tanned, but not like we do when we go to the beach. No. It's not the same tan. The word tan is also used when you make leather out of skin. So his skin became leather, and then it was transformed into wallets and change purses. You see, who can say you cannot change a person into something more useful or beautiful? I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. Well, not really. Those things really happened in history, and the use of human skin in different domains is still happening today. Feeling confused and lost yet? If only you could use something for guidance. Something like a map, maybe. Andrew Krasnow is an American artist that has spent the last 20 years making sculptures and art objects out of human skin. He uses skin from people who donated their bodies to medical science, and he makes flags, boots, lampshades, and even maps of America.
You serious?
His works have been censored many times. I wonder why. But in 2009 he had an exhibition in London where people could see and try to understand his art that apparently symbolizes human cruelty and America's ethics and morality. Talking about morality when you have a pair of Western boots made out of human skin. I mean, yeah, these people donated their bodies for scientific purposes, not necessarily to be flayed and transformed into boots or maps, right? Or am I the only one that thinks of this? Oh, and talking about exhibitions, have you heard of Body Worlds? Huh? Anyone? Body Worlds is a fascinating and also grisly exhibition because they use as models, as exhibits, human bodies. Like actual real human bodies that have been plastinated. They remove fluids from the body, replace them with polymers that harden and preserve the body perfectly, and then they can manipulate them in all sorts of ways. The bodies can be stripped of their skin or cut so that you could actually see cross-sections of how the organs are placed inside of you. They even show the different stages of fetus development for each month, which means, yeah, that fetuses that you can see really close. I've been to such an exhibition in Bucharest last year, and it was so interesting and so weird at the same time. All the time I was thinking, yup, this was an actual human once. Most bodies were donated by people who in life were 100% aware of what would happen to their bodies after death. But it happened one time for executed prisoners to make it into the exhibition. So, yeah. Cool stuff, huh? Apparently, history is not always written in ink. Sometimes it is bound in human skin. But either way, it shows this continuous fascination that we have with our skin. I mean, we've used it to connect with gods, to punish rebels and murderers, to get to know ourselves more, and maybe to remain immortal. Sometimes we've used it just because we needed a lamp in the reading room.
Stop it. Get some help.
Well, that was all for today's creepy episode. Now that Halloween is just around the corner, let me know what you think of the subject in the comment section down below. And don't forget to offer a like and a subscribe because legends and secrets are better uncovered together. Also, if you want to talk about another topic, you can also share your curiosity in the comment section. Thank you for watching. I hope you take good care of your skin, hydrate yourself, winter is coming, and see you guys next time. Bye bye!